This is not a history lesson. This is a cryptological operation. Most people read Nostradamus like a horoscope. They look for vague coincidences. They look for shapes in the clouds. They say, look, he predicted Hitler, or look, he predicted 9/11. They are looking at the surface of the water. They are ignoring the depth. Michel de Nostradamus was not a fortune teller. He was a doctor. He was a scholar of the occult. He was a man who understood that time is not a line, it is a spiral. He understood that history does not repeat, but it rhymes. And he understood that specific energetic coordinates, specific alignments of the planets and the elements, produce specific human outcomes. He wrote his centuries not to warn the peasants of his time, but to signal the initiates of the future. He wrote for the prescient. Today, we are going to perform a surgical extraction on a single quatrain. Century 1, Quatrain 87. Scholars have debated this 4-line poem for 500 years. They have tried to pin it to the Great Fire of London. They have tried to pin it to the attack on the World Trade Center. They are wrong. They are wrong because they were reading the map before the territory existed. This quatrain is not about a city of brick and mortar. It is not about New York. It is not about London. It is not about Paris. It is about the new city that we have built over the last 30 years. It is about the digital realm, the cloud, the panopticon, and the fire he speaks of is not a chemical combustion. It is an electrical event. It is a thermal event. It is the fire horse. We are entering 2026, the year of the Bing Wu, the year of Saturn in Aries. The coordinates match. The prophecy is unlocked. We are going to go line by line, word by word. We are going to dismantle the poetry to reveal the physics. We are going to show you why Nostradamus wasn't predicting a tragedy. He was predicting a transition from the liquid world of the 20th century to the solid world of the 21st. This is Nostradamus Decoded. Sit down. Turn off your notifications. We are going deep. Énosige feu du centre de terre, earth-shaking fire from the center of the earth. Let us begin with the first word, énosige. This is not a French word. It is a Greek word, enosigaios. It is an epithet for Poseidon, the god of the sea, but it does not mean water god. It means earth shaker. Why would Nostradamus invoke the earth shaker to describe a fire? Because this fire is not atmospheric. It is seismic. It comes from the center of the earth. In the 20th century, we thought this meant a volcano. We thought it meant magma. But look at the world you live in today. What is the center of your reality? What is the core substrate that powers the entire civilization? It is silicon. It is rare earth metals. It is the literal earth that has been dug up, refined, and organized into the microchips that run the global brain. The fire from the center of the earth is electricity. It is the electron flowing through the silicon gate. It is the pulse of the server farm. It is the heat generated by the GPUs training the artificial intelligence. Nostradamus is describing a geomagnetic event. The Earthshaker refers to the magnetic field of the planet itself. As we have briefed you, the Fire Horse year, 2026, is a year of solar maximum. The sun is entering a cycle of extreme volatility. When a coronal mass ejection, CME, hits the Earth's magnetic field, it creates a geomagnetic storm. It creates an earth-shaking fire that is invisible to the eye, but catastrophic to the grid. The center of the Earth also refers to the infrastructure. The fiber optic cables buried under the ocean, Poseidon's domain. The data centers buried in bunkers. The power lines that crisscross the continents like a nervous system. Nostradamus is telling us that the threat to the new city comes from its foundation. It comes from the physical reality that supports the virtual hallucination. We have built a civilization on top of a fire, electricity, that we do not fully control. We have assumed the grid is permanent. We have assumed the magnetic field is stable. But the Earthshaker is waking up. In 2026, the fire from the center represents the thermal limit of the digital age. We are running too much voltage through wires that are too old. We are running too much processing power through chips that are reaching the limits of physics. We are creating a heat death of the digital infrastructure. This line is the diagnosis. The hardware is about to fail. Fera trembler autour de Cité Neuve will cause tremors around the new city. Here is the key. The Cité Neuve, the new city. For centuries, interpreters looked for a city named New. New York, New Orleans, Naples, Neapolis. They were thinking too small. They were thinking geographically. Nostradamus was a mystic. He saw visions of the future. Imagine a man from the 16th century seeing the internet. He sees a realm where millions of people interact, trade, fight, and love, but they are not in a physical space. He sees a city made of light, a city made of glass screens. He sees a new city that is superimposed over the old world. The new city is the Digital Panopticon. It is the cloud. It is the parallel reality where you spend 12 hours a day. It is the jurisdiction of the algorithm. The prophecy says the fire will cause tremors around the new city. Note the preposition, autour, around, not inside. This implies that the shaking happens on the periphery, or that it affects the container of the city. What are these tremors? They are disruptions of connectivity. They are the flickering of the reality. When the fire from the center, grid instability, cyber war hits, the new city shakes. The bank app doesn't open. The GPS signal drifts. The social media feed stops refreshing. The tremor is the cognitive dissonance of a population that is addicted to a digital reality that is suddenly glitching. In our file, How to Thrive in the New City, we described the danger of dislocation. You are over-leveraged in the new city, your money, your memories, your work, and under-leveraged in the old city, your food, your water, your defense. When the tremors hit, the paper citizens panic. They realize that their city is a ghost town. They realize that without the electricity, the city vanishes. The tremor is also psychological. It is the cardiac crunch. It is the anxiety of the nervous system, the bioelectrical grid, reacting to the instability of the external grid. You feel the shaking in your chest. You feel the hum in the sternum. This is the somatic echo of the prophecy, as above, so below. The grid shakes, and your heart shakes with it. Nostradamus is predicting the great interruption. He is predicting the moment when the new city loses its illusion of permanence, when the screen goes black and you are forced to look at the reflection of your own terrified face in the glass. Deux grands rochers longtemps feront la guerre. Two great rocks will war for a long time. This is the hinge of the prophecy, the two great rocks. In the geopolitical reading, this has been interpreted as the USA and Russia, or Christianity and Islam. But we must look at the energetic signature of 2026. We have Saturn, the stone, the lead, entering Aries, the fire, the war. Saturn represents the rock. It is the heavy, immovable object. But here, we have two rocks. What are the two immovable objects that are grinding against each other in 2026? Interpretation A. The geopolitical grind, East versus West. We are witnessing the bifurcation of the world order. The unipolar moment, one rock, is over. We have returned to a bipolar world. Rock 1. The Western Alliance, NATO Five Eyes, the dollar system. Rock 2. The Eurasian bloc, China, Russia, BRICS, the gold system. These two rocks have been warring for a long time. This is not a new war. It is the continuation of a century-long struggle for dominance. But in 2026, the war shifts from cold to kinetic, or specifically tectonic. They are not just shooting at each other, they are grinding against each other's economies. Sanctions, blockades, firewalls, the splinter net, the tremors in the new city are caused by these two rocks smashing into the digital infrastructure. When the West bans Eastern tech and the East bans Western chips, the new city cracks. Interpretation B. The ideological grind, woke versus anti-woke. As detailed in our 1966 versus 2026 briefing, we are in a cultural revolution. Rock 1, the revolutionary force, the fire horse, woke, red guards. This force wants to burn the four olds: biology, merit, borders, truth. Rock 2, the reactionary force, Saturn, anti-woke, white guards. This force wants to build a wall. It wants to impose tradition by force. These are two fundamentalist worldviews that cannot coexist. They are rocks because they have become calcified. There is no fluidity. There is no debate. There is only the collision of absolutes. Two great rocks will war for a long time. This suggests a stasis, a deadlock. It is not a quick victory. It is a grinding war of attrition. It is the trenches of WWUI, but fought in the culture. This war destroys the middle ground. It destroys the nuance. You are crushed between the two rocks if you try to stand in the center. Interpretation C, the metaphysical grind, virtual versus real. This is the deepest reading. Rock 1, the physical reality, the old city, gravity, biology. Rock 2, the digital reality, the new city, the cloud, AI. For 30 years, the digital has been eating the physical. But in 2026, the physical fights back. Saturn, reality, asserts its dominance over the fire, virtual. The war is the friction between what the algorithm says is true and what your eyes see is true. The algorithm says the economy is booming. The reality says bread costs $10. The algorithm says you are safe. The reality says the streets are burning. This cognitive dissonance is the sound of the two rocks grinding. And longtemps feront la guerre implies that this integration, the struggle to reconcile AI with biology, is the defining conflict of our century. Puis Arethusa rougira nouveau fleuve, then Arethusa will redden a new river, and finally, the resolution, or perhaps the aftermath. Arethusa. Who is Arethusa? In Greek mythology, Arethusa was a nymph. She was pursued by the river god Alpheus. To escape him, she was transformed by Artemis into a spring, a fountain of fresh water. She traveled underground beneath the sea and emerged in Syracuse, Sicily as a freshwater fountain. This is a dense alchemical image, transformation from nymph to water. Underground passage, traveling beneath the surface, the dark web, the parallel economy. Emergence, reappearing in a new land. But Nostradamus says she will redden a new river. Rougira will redden. Red is the color of blood. It is the color of war. But in alchemy, red is the color of the rubido, the final stage of the great work. The Red King, the Philosopher's Stone, the gold. The new river is the new flow of value. The old river, the fiat dollar, the paper economy, is drying up. It is being blocked by the two rocks. The death of paper means the death of the old liquidity. Dissolution is the drying up of the old stream. So, what is the new river, and why is it red? Theory 1, the blood currency, war economy. The new economy is backed by blood. It is backed by kinetic power. It is backed by energy. The zombie currency of the 2020s was backed by nothing but faith. The new river is the flow of resources, oil, gold, food, munitions. Reddening the river means the transition involves violence. It involves the games of slaughter. Value returns to the heavy. The river flows with real things, obtained through real struggle. Theory 2, the Red King, the alchemical gold. In our Fire Creates Life briefing, we discussed coagulation, the process of turning the spirit back into matter. The Red River is the coagulated wealth. It is the gold. It is the Bitcoin, digital fire. It is the land. Nostradamus is predicting a shift from a blue-white economy, air, paper, intellect, to a red economy, fire, blood, reality. Arethusa, the spring that comes from underground, represents the emergence of the parallel economy. While the new city shakes and the two rocks war, the remnant builds a new flow of value underground. It travels beneath the sea, outside the jurisdiction of the state, and emerges as a new river. This new river is the lifeblood of the civilization that comes after 2026. Theory 3, the birth of the new human Arethusa was transformed to survive. We too are mutating. In Why You Feel Anxious, we spoke of the speciation event, the split between Homo sapiens digitalis, the paper people, and the sovereign remnant. The new river is the genetic line of the survivors. It is red because it is vital. It is alive. It is hot blood, not cold data. The reddening is the return of vitality to a civilization that has become anemia and pale. The fire horse burns away the weakness, and what remains is the red river of the sovereign life force. The synthesis, the narrative of 2026. So, let us put the pieces together. What is Nostradamus telling us in Quatrain 87? He is giving us the timeline of the fire horse crisis. Phase 1, the trigger, enosiggy, a seismic disruption of the physical infrastructure of the global grid. Fire from the center of the Earth. This could be a solar flare, CME, a massive cyberkinetic attack on the power grid, or a resource crisis, silicon energy, that causes the hardware to fail. The foundation of the digital world cracks. Phase 2, the event, tremors around the new city. The digital realm, the new city, destabilizes. The cloud evaporates. The always-on civilization flickers off. The panopticon goes blind for a moment. The paper wealth locked in the servers becomes inaccessible. Mass dislocation, mass anxiety, the cardiac crunch. The illusion of the digital utopia is shattered. Phase 3, the conflict, the two rocks. In the vacuum of the collapse, the great powers grind against each other. The Cold War becomes a siege, East versus West, state versus citizen, reality versus ideology. The system freezes, the freezing of the gears. Liquidity dries up, movement stops, the walls go up. Saturn in Aries. Phase 4, the emergence, Arethusa. From the underground, a new system springs forth. It is a system built by those who prepared, by the gray men, by the hybrids. It is a new river of value. It is red, real, heavy, vital. It replaces the old pale paper river of the debt-based economy. It is the birth of the neo-feudal order, where power flows from the ownership of the heavy, not the manipulation of the abstract. The mandate, how to ride the river. Nostradamus does not write to scare you. He writes to prepare you. If you know the dam is going to break, you do not stand in the valley. You build a boat. How do you survive Quatrain 87? 1. Fortify the center of the earth. Your personal infrastructure must be robust. Do not rely on the grid. Get heavy assets that do not require electricity to exist. Gold, land, tools. If the enosiggy fire hits the server farm, your wealth must be in your hand, not in the cloud. Build your analog cabinet. 2. Leave the new city. Psychologically, Do not be a citizen of the digital realm. Be a tourist. Practice hybridization. Keep 1 foot in the digital to extract resources, and 1 foot in the physical to survive the tremors. When the new city shakes, you must be able to step off the platform onto solid ground. If your entire identity is digital, you will be shaken to pieces. If your identity is sovereign, you will watch the shaking from a distance. 3. Do not get crushed by the rocks. Do not stand between the colliding empires. Do not become an ideologue for Rock 1 or Rock 2. Stay gray, stay small, stay mobile. The 2 rocks will grind for a long time. Do not try to stop them. Do not try to be a hero in their war. The hero dies in the first act. The gray man survives to find the new river. 4. Find the spring, Arethusa. Look for the new river before it becomes mainstream. Look for the underground networks, the invisible college, the mesh networks, the barter circles. This is where the fresh water is flowing, while the masses are fighting over the muddy, drying puddles of the old river, the fiat system. The Prescient are drinking from the hidden spring of Arethusa. Follow the red, follow the vitality, follow the real. There is one last layer to decode. Arethusa turned into water to escape a god who was chasing her. She used fluidity to escape force. This is the ultimate strategy for 2026. The fire horse is force, Saturn is force. The 2 rocks are force. If you try to be a rock, you will be crushed. If you try to be fire, you will burn out. Be water, be Arethusa. Go underground, flow around the obstacle, change your form. If the new city blocks you, flow to the old city. If the currency blocks you, flow to the commodity. If the sensor blocks you, flow to the parable. Water cannot be broken. Water cannot be burnt. It only turns to steam and rises. The new river belongs to those who are fluid enough to navigate the transition. Century 1, Quatrain 87 is not a death sentence. It is a birth announcement. It announces the painful, violent, earth-shaking birth of a new epoch. The new city will shake. The rocks will war, but the river will flow. Will you be the rock that cracks, or will you be the river that reddens the future with new life? This is Prescient. We are watching, and we are flowing. On this channel, we cover a wide range of topics similar to this one. If you enjoy this type of content, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Otherwise, we may never see each other again. See you again soon, dear viewer.